Okay, this is a general oracle card reading for the Aries for the month of January next year, 2019. And I'm going to be doing this a little different than what I've been doing. When I was drawing out the cards before, it was a little too time consuming because sometimes there was 12 or more cards coming out, and then other times one card was coming out. So I'm just going to start drawing out 4 cards, and that's it. And I choose 4 because that's about how many weeks you have in a month. So yeah, and keep in mind though, this is a general reading, so it's not going to fit everybody. It could be like one size fits most, but not all. And you know that you are each individual, so you could be going through different stages in life. So this may have applied a few months before, and this may apply a few months after. And not one sign in the zodiac is all positive people, and then another sign's all negative. So there's negative and positive people in each sign. So the energy may be affecting you differently, one Aries to another. And another thing I'm going to start doing is if the card flips upside down when I'm pulling it out, then I'm going to try to read it what I feel it means, being it was pulled out upside down. I've been reading them all right side up, and I have an idea of what I feel from them. I don't go by the book. Some people do that, but some of us, we choose to associate those symbols to what they mean to us, because, each individual has their own symbolism and what that means to them. Kind of like me, I grew up in Christianity. I'm no longer Christian, but being as I grew up in that faith, a cross to me means something of hope, something of faith, something of God, the universe is over you and protecting you. An angel to me is a sign of guardians around you, surrounding you, protecting you. And for someone else, if they're pagan or if they're Celtic, Irish, the cross may have a different meaning to them than what it has to me. That symbol has been around long before Christianity. So, and I know a lot of Christians don't know this or they don't accept it, but yeah, that symbol's been around before Christianity. But being as I grew up in Christianity, it has a different meaning to me than what it does for what its original sign was, perhaps. And that's why I go by what the symbols mean to me and what I feel from them. And I do think the universe communicates to you in a manner that it knows you're going to understand. That your symbolic language, you might say everybody's got a symbolic language. And that would be really weird if the universe decided to use a different symbolic language to me that I don't understand. Or a different symbolic language to somebody else they don't understand. The universe is going to communicate to you in the way you understand. So, yeah. Just getting that all cleared up. And I will start with the reading now. The first card that came up was the Lady of the Mirror. Reflection, not judgment. That just means to reflect on maybe things you've said or you've done or something you're about to say or do, but reflect without judgment. Because if you're reflecting on something from the past you've said or done and you're beating yourself up, you're reflecting with judgment upon yourself, so you don't actually get clarity, was this right or wrong? And if it was wrong, still don't do it with judgment. Forgive yourself, understand, I fucked up. Let's try something different now. Let's forgive myself and try a different way. Or if this involved another person, maybe you did something wrong, then you're going to be like, I fucked up. I'm sorry. Let me try to make it up to you. You can reflect about doing something wrong you've done without judging yourself. It is okay to forgive yourself when you know you fucked up. I'm a human being too, and guess what? Even though I try to be the best person I can be, and people often, this is not to be bragging or anything, because I realize this is about to sound like I'm bragging, but I'm not. A lot of people have told me I seem so pure, that I seem bubbly, and I'm just nice to everybody, and they're just they kind of look at me sometimes like I'm from another planet and I don't belong here, but they appreciate that I am. And it's and then other people that are, egotistical and angry, they usually hate me because I don't know. It's like they hate someone being nice to them. I don't know how to explain it. Um, but yeah, that's getting off track though. Uh, but either way, I fuck up too. But I'm able to forgive myself because I know I'm doing the best I can, and I'm human. I'm gonna mess up. That's just a fact in life. We're gonna mess up. So if there's something you feel you did wrong, or you didn't do the way you wanted to, or you don't think you went about it the right way, reflect on it and learn from it. But don't sit there and, condemn yourself to hell, because you don't deserve that. If you're a good person and all, you don't deserve that. And even if you're one of those people that are still working on your ego, still reflect without judgment. This card is telling you to learn from it, not judge yourself, but learn from it. There's a difference. If you're sitting there judging yourself, you're likely not to learn from it, because you're going to be too focused on punishing yourself than correcting yourself. If that makes any sense. And if it's something you're about to say or do, it just means reflect on what you're about to say. Kind of like when people are about to give a speech, or they're writing a song or poetry, they will reflect on their words before they actually write them down on paper. So that's what it means. Just reflect on the actions you think about taking, reflect on the things you're about to say. Make sure you know that you are about to say and come across the way you want to, or to get across what you want to get across. Or, reflect on the actions you're about to take. Think about them for a moment and be like, okay, is this really going to work in my benefit if I do this? Is this not going to work in my benefit? If it goes down this road, will that work? Just think it through very carefully. I don't know if this makes any sense, but something's just came to my mind, and it's, think about it like it's the last words you're about to give to someone before they pass. I mean, sometimes we take life and the moment and the time we have for granted so much that we don't stop to take the time and actually think through what we're going to say and do before we do it. And I don't know, that feeling just came over me right now that said, think about it. If it was the last words you were going to say to your mother or your father or your friends, if you knew that it was going to be your last moment with them, you'd probably be very careful to make sure that there's no anger, there's no judgment, there's no being nitpicky about your differences. You'd be very careful and cautious to make sure the last thing they knew was you love them and you care about them, and so on and so forth. And even when it's somebody that's, narcissistic, even those people that pass that are loved ones, and we all probably have some sort of a little bit of narcissist in our family. Some of us got a lot more than others. But, even if you knew it was their last breath, you'd choose your words carefully. You would probably make sure that they know that you forgive them and you love them and you let them go on to peace. That, and also, if you have a balance, though, you would also make sure they know that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you take advantage of me, even within your last days. I love you, but I do not owe it to you to abuse me before you take your last breath. But you'd say it in a way that is more of a fact and in a loving manner, but without hating them, if that makes any sense. I mean, that can happen, when someone's on their last breath, and even when they're egotistical, you can still be firm, but still forgiving, and allow them to go to peace and let it go. So yeah, that card just pretty much means, if it's the past, reflect without judgment and learn from it. Or if there's something you're about to do, think about it very carefully before you go do it. Make sure you have what you want to say and what you want to come across as will be as you want it to. Even if you have to play a conversation in your head before it happens, like if it's with a friend or a person that you know very well, you might know how they're going to respond to you if you say something a certain way. Then you're going to be like, okay, that one they won't take so well. Let me rephrase it differently then, so that I know they'll take it well. So you might have to play a little bit of a conversation in your head going on then. All right. Sorry. It took a while to describe that card. Okay, the altar priestess. Why did I just say princess? The altar priestess. Preparation, prayer, sacred ritual. Now, this card came out upside down then, and usually this card to me means to keep yourself sacred, to keep your space and what's around you sacred. Hold that space for yourself sacred. And being that it came upside down, I'm going to guess that you're not holding yourself sacred. And in other words, being that I didn't mean to, but I said princess instead of priestess, and I realized, you know what, that actually would work in my benefit to explain this card. Sometimes you gotta treat yourself like a princess or a prince. You know? You are sacred. You are royalty. You know? So, remember you're a princess. Remember you're a prince. You know? Treat everything sacred around your space as if you were a princess. Treat everything sacred around your space as if you were a prince. But being said came upside down, I'm going to guess you're not doing that right now. And that may not last forever. It might just be a little moment you're having, because everybody's got a moment, you know, where they're crying and every bad thought that's dark comes popping in your head. And then once you cry and let that stress out, you just let it all out, you're kind of like, I feel better now, you know. So, you know, don't take it as a bad thing. It might just mean you're having a moment, that's all. And with the other two cards that popped up, I'm going to guess that, yeah, this is a moment. Or at least it's a season of growth. So, you've got that reflect without judgment card, and then not treating yourself sacred like a princess or a prince. And then this card coming up. The River Queen. Flow, letting go, natural movement. Now, it didn't come upside down, so that I'm going to take as there is an acknowledgement of something that needs to be let go of, and you are ready to let it go. You are ready. And maybe you're already in the process of letting go, or maybe it's something you have already let go of. And for all I know, it might have been this bad habit of not holding yourself sacred. And it might be letting go of that anger or resentment towards yourself for something you did, or, you know, maybe anger or resentment for what you're about to do. And, you know, maybe you're going to take the time to actually think it through, especially being that the let go card is here. But yeah, pretty much, you know, when you're letting go of something, there's stages you go through. Sometimes you're crying, sometimes you feel okay, sometimes you feel pissed off. I mean, there's stages, and it's okay to go through those stages. Now, when it says let go, it doesn't always mean it's like a person or something solid in your life. It sometimes can be a bad habit or emotions. Kind of like when you go to therapy. If you have negative emotions because you're hurt because of your childhood, you know, you go to therapy, you go to a therapist in order to help you sort through all those emotions and let them go, or be able to allow yourself to feel, but without it taking over you in some way. So you let go the takeover, into where you have a balance on those emotions now, to where you can acknowledge and accept without all the inner torment. And, you know, because some people's childhood is kind of fucked up. So, you know, you hit adulthood and it's like PTSD or something, you know. Not that I'm saying it is PTSD. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I'm just using it as an example. It can be a bit like that, you know. When, like, some people that are abused, they fear confrontation sometimes. Or they become narcissistic themselves and then they love confrontation. So, you know, and I have a lot of people like that in my family, you know. Personally, I can say there's saints and there are devils in my family. There are people that got hurt and they decide to be healers, and then there's people that got hurt that decided to just want to be the fuck up of everything. Like, I want to fuck with everyone's heads. That's what they're like. I personally am not like that, but I do acknowledge the cause and effect what abuse can do to a person. So, you know, maybe it's something that you're going to be letting go of that's a bad habit that you have. Maybe it's letting, you know, like those saintly people in my family, they often are too much of a welcome mat. You know, very few get past that stage and realize that they can be saintly without being taken advantage of. So you may be getting rid of something like being taken advantage of. You may be letting go of an ego. You may be quitting something like smoking or drinking, or, but, and it can be a person too, like toxic people. You gotta let them go sometimes. And maybe it's not a toxic person, it's just, you separated. I've had friends like that, where they were not toxic or bad, but as time went on, we were both adults at this point, and sometimes you just slowly grow apart. You don't hate each other, but that sometimes happens, but you still wish them the best, and anytime you have a chance you can connect again, you enjoy that time like there was no time that passed. So, it can be also a person you're letting go of, and it can be toxic, and all could be not toxic. It's just somebody you spaced away from over time. Nothing wrong with them, nothing wrong with you. But, this is a general reading, so I may not know exactly personally what each of you are going through. All I can do is give examples, and you just take what you think or feel applies to you. Dang, I just keep feeling so thirsty. Okay, last card. And I think this is a good thing, especially after all this. The Well Watcher. Wisdom, power of the divine. To me, this is standing in yourself, your wisdom, your power, who you are. Actually being divinely who you are. Kind of like how some people, like I grew up in Christianity. I've already mentioned that before. And when I left Christianity, you have some people that may have looked at me like you've betrayed God. It's like, no, I didn't. I still believe he's there. I just don't believe in Christianity. And then some people look at me like you've betrayed Christianity. It's like, actually, no, I didn't betray you at all. I didn't resonate with this at all to be able to be a part of it, to leave it, to actually be betraying it. I simply stopped betraying myself. Because staying in the religion, I was betraying myself. I didn't believe homosexuals were going to hell. I didn't believe if someone didn't say a certain prayer, they were going to hell. It didn't make sense to me. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. There's some people that are just, I don't care what anybody says, they seem like holy people to me. They are kind, loving people. And I do not see God sending them to hell because they didn't say a prayer or because they didn't believe in him. I don't see God even sending atheists to hell. I'm like, if they're sitting there helping the homeless and they're being kind and loving and, sometimes they're there to be the shoulder to cry on, why in the world would God send a person like that to hell just because they were an atheist? So by leaving the religion, I didn't betray the religion. I simply made a choice to stop betraying myself and my own values and my own wisdom, my own soul, my divine wisdom and power of who I felt I was. So that's what this card means. You finding yourself. Stop betraying yourself. And living in your own divine wisdom of what you feel. And when you are divinely living in your own wisdom, let me make clear, it does not mean you're going to be like, everybody needs to follow my way. Because, no, some people got a different path. Like some people, they believe the same way as me, but they stay in Christianity. And I stayed friends with these people, and, they're good people. Oh, I will always love them. They're living in their own wisdom of what they feel. Christianity wasn't for me, though, so I had to let that go. Just because I left Christianity, it doesn't mean I feel everyone needs to leave Christianity. That's for them. It's just not for me. So if you really, truly are living your divine wisdom and power, you're not going to feel like you have to convert everybody. You're just going to be happy and at peace with yourself. And this is all the more why I would say that the not holding yourself sacred is probably temporary, especially because this card pulled up. Because you can't have this card and not treat yourself sacred. This card, it would be all about holding yourself sacred. So, loving yourself and being yourself and who you feel you are. Another example for understanding this is, I know not everybody believes in this or agrees with this, but there are people out there that are transgender, and I truly believe them when they say that when they have the body of a woman, they feel like they're a man, or they have the body of a man and they feel like they're a woman. I truly believe that they are. They just, I'll be honest, the ones that say they're really a man, I'm like, they act too much like a man for me not to believe them. And the ones that say they're a woman, they act too much like a woman. I mean, they act more girly than me, and I'm like, okay, I can't question you at all, because you're wearing more makeup than I would ever dream to try to put on my face. So, you know, I genuinely believe in them, but why I'm using this as an example is because they live in their divine wisdom and power of who they think they are. Even if the rest of the world says they're wrong, they live in peace and happy with who they are. And I'm not saying you're a transgender. I'm just saying that is an example of how you should be living in your true nature of who you feel you are. Maybe you feel like you want to start praying every day, then start that. Maybe you feel like you want to stop praying. You're like, why are we doing this? It's nonsense. When I could be doing something rather than praying, then do that. You know, it's just about finding your divine wisdom and power of who you think and feel you are. So, yeah, that is your card. That's your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you don't, I will flash the cards, as I always do, to let you use your own energy, your own intuition of what you feel you think it means. Because I respect that. Everybody's got their own intuition and their own symbolism. Also, remember, if the card did not make sense to you upside down, then just ignore it and pay attention to the way what it means when it's right side up. You know, take it as it applies. Also, let me know if it made any sense, because I'm just now starting to try to read the cards upside down. So, if they're not making sense, please let me know, so I'll stop doing that. But I'm going to do this for a few months, though, to see, you know, if it makes sense to anybody. Because it might make sense one month and then not make sense the next month. So then, and then it may not make sense for the few months I'm trying, so then I'm going to realize, okay, this doesn't work, I need to stop. But if it does work every single time, or at least most of the time, then I'm going to continue trying to read them upside down. So I will appreciate if you let me know if it made sense when it's upside down or not. Okay, y'all have a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening. You have a good one. Goodbye now.